The Chiefs' next move might be closer than you think, and we're going to talk about it. Good morning, Chiefs Kingdom. Appreciate you guys rolling in here, enjoying all Chiefed up on this fine Friday morning. Mike, it's not the season. I don't have red on, even though it's Friday, but it's okay. We can still call it Red Friday because the Chiefs rule, you know? We can do that.
I hear you.
But yeah, man, we have a lot to talk about. The Chiefs have some moves to make, and we're going to talk about maybe what's to come. Just want to remind everybody, this live stream is powered by BetUS. We'll talk about them a little bit more here in a little while. But, Mike, they tagged Trey Smith. I thought Nate Taylor said they weren't going to do that.
Right. We talked about this yesterday. I come on with a little bit of live. You had to go to work. You were like, hey, Mike, they tagged Trey Smith. Go talk about it. So I come on. I give a little spiel. Steve, the thing is we heard he wasn't going to be tagged. Now that he is tagged, I'll bring this back up for everybody that didn't get to see it yesterday. Now that he is tagged, if you don't work out a contract, $23.4 million is what he will play on in the 2025 season. That is insane.
That's crazy.
I think $20 million per year sets the market. I'm not for sure what the highest guard is. I mean, I need to go look at that. That's ridiculous that I didn't go look at that, by the way.
Good Lord, Mike, be prepared, okay?
Here's the thing. I just don't think that Trey Smith is good enough to reset the market. So I don't care what the top market price is. Like, he's good. He's a serviceable pass blocker. And I don't think he gave up any sacks last year. So, I mean, how much better can you get? Chiefs fans are expecting, like, the premier at every position. But it's like, I get he's not the greatest pass blocker in the world. Like, he's a much better run blocker. But he gave up, like, no sacks. Like, what? Much better can you do? You know what I'm saying? So I understand why Veach wants to re-sign him and strengthen the core of the line and protect Mahomes. We've talked about this before, Steve. If he lets him walk out the door and then you go to Caliendo or Kingsley or whoever to play that right guard position and there starts being pressure up the middle now, people's going to attack Brett Veach and be like, look, you don't give this guy any weapons hardly. It's like pulling teeth to get him a weapon, and now you're taking away the offensive line that you can't get together his entire career. I think Veach would take a lot of heat if he don't try to re-sign Trey Smith.
Well, it's common sense, right? Like, you have to keep the offensive line up to par. If you have Patrick Mahomes back there, you have the prized possession of the NFL. You got to protect them, right? That's what their whole focus is every year, of course, right? That's how we see it always play out in the Super Bowl.
Steve, but that's why we thought he was more important than Nick Bolton, right? Nick Bolton doesn't protect Patrick Mahomes.
Honestly, like, I was kind of up in the air on that. Like, I understand the importance. I was being a little sarcastic there, but I understand the importance of keeping the offensive line the best you can at the moment and still improving on top of it. I'm all for that. Patrick Mahomes deserves that. But what you were talking about, Mike, Chris Lindstrom is the top paid, $20.5 million per year right now at right guard. Next closest, Robert Hunt's also get paid $20 million a year, and then Sam Cosmi is at $18.5 million per year. But if you look at these contracts, man, they're massive contracts, and Trey Smith is going to want more than they are making. I would almost guarantee it. And he should. I'm not saying it's him being greedy or anything like that. He's the best. He deserves to get paid like the best. And right now, Chris Lindstrom is getting paid on a contract for $102 million. $102.5 million.
Over how many years?
This guy is raking, brother. $62 million of that guaranteed. The years, it doesn't say the years on here. I'm assuming that's a 5-year contract because of the math. So that's kind of what I'm expecting to see from Trey Smith.
Do you think Trey Smith's going to get 5 years, $20 to $22 million?
They're going to have to pay him that much. Unless he takes some sort of a sweetheart deal to stay here.
Doesn't that just seem way too rich for a right guard?
It seems crazy.
When you're paying a right tackle $80 million.
Yeah, it absolutely seems crazy to pay a guard that much. But at the same time, like you were saying, they have this core interior offensive line that's been fantastic for the Chiefs over the last few years with Joe Thuney, Trey Smith, and Creed in the middle there. of course they want to keep that together. They already have problems at tackle. So why do they want to create more problems? But at the same time, that's just a lot of money to spend on a guard. Guards
Steve, a
aren't
lot
the
of people
hardest
are
to
thinking.
replace.
A lot of people are thinking this. We were talking about this a little bit. What's next? Are they going to re-sign Trey Smith? I'm in the camp that I think they're going to re-sign him. I think they tagged him to re-sign him. That's what I think happened. A lot of people think they tagged him to trade him. They think that they're just not going to let him walk. They think that they're going to get something out of him, and they're having PTSD from L'Jarius Sneed last year. We knew L'Jarius Sneed was coming. Chiefs don't tend to pay corners. They couldn't afford to pay that to a corner for what Sneed was doing. Sneed had a little bit of an injury concern with that knee. There was a lot of things going, and we were saying, guys, prepare yourselves. Sneed isn't worth a first or second round pick. Prepare yourselves. He's going to be traded, and it's going to be a third round pick. Okay, we said that over and over and over to the chirping back of you don't know ball 1,000 times. Okay, obviously we knew ball. This year, I don't think, in my opinion, Trey Smith is being used as trade bait. I just don't see it. Do you see it that way?
I think it's a possibility, but let's be honest here. I don't know how many teams are out there just looking to trade for a guard, honestly. But other than that, like you said, that's not like a common occurrence, a tag and trade. That's something that's not as common as people think. Now, with the L'Jarius Sneed, when we kind of saw that one coming just because they don't pay corners, well, I don't think they historically pay guards a crazy amount of money, but they did give Joe Thuney a nice fat contract. So, I mean, that's a possibility, man. I think they want to keep Trey Smith here. Now, if they can't get something worked out, then I think they can trade him if they want, get some more draft capital. That's something that I think Brett Veach could be looking at doing. And I'm kind of more on the other, like, I'm not on the other side of the fence of you, but I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't know for sure if they aren't looking to tag and trade, because I think that Brett Veach has got to be looking for places to find more draft capital. If you look at the picks they have this year, he likes to be with a lot more picks than what they are this year. He likes to go into the draft with some room to play, and he don't have that this year. So I'm thinking maybe it could be that, or, I mean, you got stuff out there, like players that they could really just try to trade off for draft capital anyway that are useless to us, like Sky Moore. Can you get a 6th, 7th round pick out of him? Justin Ross, can you get one out of him? Like, I don't know if that's the route they'll go, but I do think they are looking to get Trey Smith to sign long term. I just don't know if they could really do it at $100 million.
Right. I don't know if the money's
I don't know.
right, but
yeah.
And Trey Smith deserves the money. He deserves the money. I just don't know if the money's right in KC. Do the Chiefs have a lot of draft capital to mess with? No, you said that. They do not. They do have the little bit that they got from Tennessee for Sneed. But look how long it took that Sneed deal to go. Sneed was regarded as one of the top tier guys coming out last year. When we tagged him, there was supposed to be a ton of interest for Sneed. And when it all boiled down, there were maybe 2 teams in on the running, and it was the Colts and the Titans. And the Colts claimed that they never even offered anything at the end of the day, that was all just bad reporting. And then it took forever to get a Titans deal worked out, because even if you trade, are you giving up a pick and you're giving up that amount of money? So are you willing to give up a 3rd round pick for Trey Smith and $100 million to a right guard? To me, that sounds wild. And I only see one team that would even consider it, and that might be Ryan Poles and the Bears, who they thought they'd already signed Trey Smith, according to all their beat writers.
They were peak level horniness about Trey Smith.
Right, like they were so blue chewed up over him.
Well,
like,
dude,
I mean, that's your only option, and I just feel like that's very minimal and very slim.
Exactly.
Maybe the Vikings.
I just don't think that's in the cards. I don't think they're. First of all, our fan base is going to come on here. There'll be a chunk of them that come on here and be like, we're going to get a 1st round pick for Trey Smith, which is absolutely absurd. Like, that was absurd when you thought that Sneed was going to garner one, and it's absurd to think that Trey Smith would. So I just go ahead and nip that one in the bud. Like, if you're going to trade Trey Smith for a draft pick, you're looking at a 3rd rounder. You're looking at
I think it's 3rd, and that might be a little rich.
Right. And here's the thing. Like I was saying, maybe Brett Veach is looking to get more draft capital. That's definitely a possibility. But dude, he gave away a bunch of it in this last season to guys that never even stepped on the field hardly.
Yeah, a bunch of defensive ends.
Yeah, so it's like I don't really know what Brett Veach's like path, like his idea of
What's
what
his
he's
path
trying
to
to
the
do.
draft?
Like, what are you doing, Brett Veach? It's kind of unpredictable this year, so I wasn't really expecting them to tag Trey. I really wasn't.
I don't think anybody was.
I thought for a minute they were just going to let him walk, which was weird though. It makes a lot more sense to tag him. That
At least
way,
when you tag him, though, doesn't it mean you got a chance to match an offer?
you got a chance to match an offer, and you also have a chance to get something out of him instead of just letting him walk away for free.
Right. And that can be negotiated. It used to be 2 number ones. You're not getting that out, Trey Smith. Come on. You're not getting number one. You could have 3 Trey Smiths and not get 2 number ones. I just don't know. I guess Brett Veach's plan is this gives him more time. It buys him a little time on the free market for him to go out, and if he negotiates or whatever his agents do, he's got a chance to match it, or he can find suitors to maybe get something out of them. I think it just buys time, in my opinion. And I guess that the salary cap going up a little bit influenced his decision, because I guess that's why. And also, maybe the market for left tackle just isn't very good. So he's like, well, we're not going to be able to spend big on a left tackle. There's nobody out there. Might as well get Trey Smith going.
Right. So if they were to tag Trey Smith just to trade him and they got like a 3rd-round pick for him, how mad is everybody going to be?
3rd-round pick for Trey Smith? I don't know. I'd be okay with that because I think we're fine at right guard.
But I think just in general, as an entire fan base, what would Chiefs Kingdom's kind of like thinking be on that? Would they be
after
like,
a
man, we got
Snead
ripped off,
and after
you know?
Trey Smith, yeah, I think they would probably be calling for Brett Veach's job.
Yeah, they might.
They call for it anyway.
I think it's definitely the popular opinion to get him locked up and keep that interior offensive line kind of intact. And I agree with that. I hope that's what they can do. Just making it make sense monetarily, I think, is the main thing, and that's the struggle that Brett Veach is going to have. But hopefully they can get him to not necessarily take a little less just because it's the Chiefs, because we all know that's not really a thing anymore. But there's a possibility that maybe he's just comfortable where he's at and he don't want to change. You know, a lot of people don't like change, especially players that have to uproot everything they have and move to a different city. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe it can help us out a little bit.
I think
We'll
you're
find
fine
out.
with it, though, making $5-6 extra million a year.
Yeah, a lot of people are. People move for a lot less than that in regular everyday
Steve,
jobs, you know.
I would move out of Kentucky for a bag of Doritos. I mean, it's not going to take much to get me to move.
Would you move out of Kentucky for McCole Hardman to be on the team?
Yeah, let's go. Let's bring him back.
Is that the equivalent? A bag of Doritos.
Yeah. So look, Trey Smith at the end of the day wrapped. In my opinion, Steve, it's until pen to paper, you can't trust anybody. Like
Right.
Nobody knows what's going on. Brett Veach is a wild card. We all know this. This is the time of the year, Steve, coming up with free agency, that we're going to be up at midnight doing live streams because Brett Veach won't sleep and he's doing something crazy
He's going to sign somebody weird that no one expects.
for $80 million.
Yeah, something crazy. Joshua Uche. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Uche. Oh, well,
Okay,
I think
well-
Trey Smith's on the wrap, though. I mean,
Right.
I don't know what more
I
we
think
could all
so,
talk
too.
about Trey Smith.
But I want to move over to Nick Bolton real quick and some of these other guys that we've not re-signed yet. And what are they going to do there? Do you think Brett Veach saying that there were a lot of good linebackers in this draft, kind of putting that out there? We talked about it the other day, how that could just be him strategizing, against the agents of not Trey Smith, but Nick Bolton, to maybe a negotiating tactic, something like that? Or do you think he's dead serious? Do you think they're just, hey, we got to get Trey taken care of, so sorry, Nick, you're collateral damage? You think that's kind of what's going on?
I think Brett Veach maybe, like, we're always thinking that these guys are, playing like a, 4D chess 24/7. I think maybe Brett Veach
are
just kind of
somewhat.
spoke normal. I think he was like, look, at the end of the day, we didn't know this at the time, but in his mind, he was like, hey, we're going to re-sign Trey Smith.
Well, I've kind of noticed that
We're
with
tagging
him.
him. Nick's probably got to go. And so he just spoke about the linebackers.
I do think that Brett Veach normally speaks pretty honestly in his pressers. If you go back and kind of look at everything that he says, he's normally pretty spot on to what he's saying in the public. Like he's not a guy that keeps his cards close to his chest. He kind of tells people what he's doing.
I guarantee he's told Nick Bolton, look, the way our team is and where our big money is sitting back there at quarterback. We've got to protect him, man. I'm sorry, it's just part of the thing. Like, so you and Trey Smith's getting a little bit of more priority. If you want to be in Kansas City, we'll try to work something out long term. If you want to go make more money elsewhere, have a good, career.
Right. So
there's no hard feelings. But I think they probably had that conversation.
Some of these other guys, like Turk Wharton, Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, there's a lot more on the list, and you probably can think of more than me. But is there any on that list besides Trey Smith? Trey Smith's already taken care of somewhat, whatever's going on there. What do you think is the next one? What do you think's the next guy on that list that they're going to try to retain before they go out and start grabbing guys on the open market?
I honestly, in my opinion, there's a few that I would look at. I would honestly try to get back Turk Wharton if you could.
I don't know where my head's at. Yeah.
I don't know what Turk Wharton's market value is.
But I will say, we've barely, dipped our toes into the draft stuff. I'm kind of feeling like this might be a heavy defensive tackle.
This is
draft.
a very good defensive line draft. Yeah. From what I can tell, they're saying Turk Wharton's contract calculated market value is about $7 million per. So they're saying that you can maybe get a comparable contract to a guy like Raheem Nunez-Roches, who also played here. 3 years, $12 million. Average salary $4 million. He signed that when he was 29. I think Turk is right now. I'm not for sure how old Turk is. Turk's 20. He'll be about 27 when the season rolls around. So I would say Turk probably wants to sign somewhere around. He's going to want to sign somewhere around that $6-7 million. So if Brett Veach is fine giving him a contract like he give Mike Dana, which I don't think he is, we're probably going to see Turk leave, which kind of sucks. His agent is Buddy Baker, the Exclusive Sports Group. I don't think they have they're not like hardballs like Drew Rosenhaus and all them, but we'll see. I would like Turk Wharton back, but look, if he's not, it's not a big deal. Like you said, we got a deep draft. If you look at other people, I honestly think D-Hop would have to take a big-time pay cut to come back. I think Brett Veach would love to get back Marquise Brown. I think he would love to get back Hollywood. Again, I don't know how feasible that is because I do think Hollywood's going to draw some market value. I do. I don't think the wide receivers coming out this year in the draft is as deep as years past, and I do not think the free agency class was as good as last year. And
right,
technically, Hollywood was at the top of that class last year.
Yeah, you got some contenders out there looking at him too. So I mean, that could be a tricky one for Veach if you want.
Yeah, and they're still saying his market value is $8 million. That's right at what Brett Veach got him for, somewhere in that ballpark. So it just depends. But I do not, and there's one other guy there. I do think the Chiefs will make an effort to sign back DJ Humphries. I really think that might be their left tackle play this year.
I think so too, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Real quick, want to say thanks everybody for being here, hanging out with All Chiefed Up. It's off season. We're in the depths of hell off season. It's before free agency.
We're just knocking at the
door.
The
draft.
We got so many more months to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got 182 people across 3 platforms in here right now. And that's literally all football YouTube across the board except for one channel. Like, literally. Like, people are checked out right now. So if you're here, you're a real one. If you are here, do us a favor, hit the like button for us. That'll help us get out a little bit more to more people. And also, like I said the other day on the live stream, do your boys a solid and share this channel, share the video, whatever you want to do with a friend that you know is a Chiefs fan. Try to get more people in on this thing so we can grow it. Let's get to the comments real quick, Mike, and then we'll get back to that DJ Humphrey thing because it's something I want to talk about. Jake Kelsey, been a member for 18 months now, says, let's effing go, boys. Here comes the draft. Pretty pumped about it, to be honest. Like,
me too.
Every year, it's like a daunting task to jump in and learn all. I don't watch college football like that. I just don't. So it's like, it's always like.
If I do, I'm not watching 300 teams.
No, and it's like starting from the ground up every year around this time. And it's a lot of work, but I'm pretty excited about it, really. Just finding the time, and that's the main thing. Our boy Peter Ortiz been a member for 4 months now, just as ACU. Shout out Peter. Flapjack with the 2-bomb says first round pick for Trey coming in, calling it now. Let's go. He had to be the first.
Get out. Get out of here, Flap.
He had to be the first. Hey, Mike, sometimes when we say things, the exact opposite happens. So it's not.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either, dude.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Usually
for
when we say things,
for as many things as we've got wrong, we've got right, and for as many things we say right, we've got wrong. So it wouldn't surprise me.
not at all. Peter Ortiz with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's go, Peter. Appreciate you, my man. If you get one of those, make sure to thank him in the chat. We're going to be doing a members-only live stream this evening. So, yeah, you might win something just because Peter gifted you out a membership and you showed up. You know what I'm saying? So you thank Peter. You thank him for that. But for real, we'll be doing that later this evening. I'm not sure exact time yet, but be on the lookout for that if you're a member and you want to participate. That'll be going on this evening. So do that. Appreciate you, Peter. Mike, DJ Humphries. I think that's the route they're going to go at left tackle as well. If I look at the free agency market, I don't see anyone that really jumps off paper at me that we have to have. It's not like a huge, massive upgrade. And the draft, I mean, let's be honest here. There's one guy, I think, in this draft that could maybe come in and start at left tackle, and you're going to have to get up the board quite a bit early in that draft to get him. So what do you think they could possibly do besides go with DJ Humphries and give him a shot? Because, I mean, people are screaming Ronnie Stanley. He's old and decrepit. He's hurt all the time, and he's not even that effective when he's playing now. Well, so what do you
when you look at it across the board, Steve, right now, the number one left tackle available, according to a lot, is either Ronnie Stanley or Cam Robinson. Dude, Ronnie Stanley is pushing 31. Tyron Smith is the number 3 rated, and he's 34. Cornelius Lucas is number 4 rated. He's 34. Kelvin Beachum is 36. Come on, there's just nobody there. There's nobody there. Like, your best bet here is probably to stick with DJ Humphries, who's just now 31 years old. I think you give him a full offseason to work with him. He's already got a touch of working with what the Chiefs can do. He's dipped his toes in, you know, a little bit during the season. He sees what the practices are like. He sees what film's like. He gets a vibe of what playing with Mahomes is like, because it's tough to play with Patrick Mahomes, a guy that wants to extend and he has different things than normal. I mean, he played with Kyler Murray. Playing with Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray is like night and day different. Okay, so
well, sort of. Kyler Murray loves to get outside of the pocket constantly too because he can't see in there.
They're two different quarterbacks, and they got two different escape routes. Like we said, Patrick Mahomes is having a lot of trouble stepping up into the pocket. He gets very indecisive. When he can get outside of the tackles, he's fine. He wasn't able to do that a lot this year because the tackles were just getting pushed back into him so much. He was having to step up. So, I mean, a lot of that attributed to the defenses. They figured out a way to keep Patrick Mahomes in a pocket. The defensive ends and the rush guys are keeping their rush lanes and their assignments a lot more tight. And a lot of that really could just be the defense. But, Steve, it's Cam Robinson or it's Ronnie Stanley or, in my opinion, it's DJ Humphries. I just don't see anybody there that is worth – you know what I mean? I just don't see anybody there that's worth spending
Well, here's
the
what
money.
I'm thinking. There are a couple of tackles that could fall to the late first round that could be in play.
You're talking draft. Okay.
That could come in here and be behind DJ Humphries and give them a minute to develop. So I'm thinking you give DJ Humphries that opportunity, but you still draft one early. Because there's a couple of guys that I think that are going to be at the end of the first round, early second round, that aren't I don't think they could start their first year or anything like that, but I definitely think they could be a left tackle in the league. I've seen some good tape on a couple of guys, and we'll talk about all that, of course, when we get to draft content. But I do think that might be the route to go, man, because you kind of want to ensure your future a little bit and keep working on that, but also DJ Humphries, give him the opportunity to step in and actually do his job this year.
I don't think DJ Humphries would require a lot of money either. I think you could probably go between $1 and $2.5 million, somewhere in that price range. It's very cheap.
And if you're going to pay Trey Smith $20 million, that might be the route you have to go here. Absolutely, dude. Jay Freezy became a member. Shout out Jay Freezy. Appreciate you, my man. Welcome to the ACU crew. You'll have to be at the members only live stream later today and check that out. Also, we got freaking Peter with a 50 bomb. Let's go, Peter. Peter has been supporting this channel like crazy, and we appreciate that. So we have sponsors and stuff like that, but it's the off season. Those are going away. Like BetUS, if you look up here, they've been sponsoring us all season long. They've been doing your boys good, and we appreciate them. So shout them out.
Maybe the final BetUS
but this is,
sponsorship.
Peter's support goes a long way, and all of your all support goes a long way to getting through this off season, because it's just what it takes, man. And we're not going to have a whole lot of sponsors and stuff like that until the season rolls around. So shout out Peter with that 50 bomb. Y'all put some legendaries in the chat for him. And speaking of BetUS, Mike, this will be the last time this season that you'll see anything from BetUS. So why don't you go ahead and tell them about BetUS Power of the live stream today?
Right. BetUS, we appreciate you guys all season long for what you've done for us. So everybody head over to betus.com. Check out what they got going on. Right now, if you use the code YouTube150, you're going to get a 150% deposit match bonus on your first deposit. And then on your next two, you're going to get 125% deposit match bonuses. Those are all up to $2,000. So you can take advantage of so many free plays. The site's easy to use. There's plenty of props on there. We used them all season long for that, Steve. Go to betus.com, use the promo code YouTube150. Let them know All Chiefed Up sent you their way.
Do it.
And if this is the last time we get to shout out BetUS this season or forever, you know what? You guys have been real. BetUS has been awesome. They've been a great partner to deal with.
Just because football's over
season.
don't mean you can't get your betting needs in. There's
no,
other
man,
sports.
we're getting ready. Baseball's going to fire up here. We got some hockey on the back burner right now. You got March Madness coming around. Like, what's more fun than doing March Madness?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, as a Kentucky fan, not been too fun lately, but
we got Flapjack with the 2 bomb. It says Field of Dreams. Kingsley Suamataia at left tackle. Man, it's a long shot these days, right? I think Kingsley's firmly solidified himself as probably a right tackle in the league. And it's not just because he came out and he couldn't do it right off the bat. I just think that's kind of what he is. Mike, you talked about last live stream about how we moved him down in the draft. We originally had him at the end of the first round, and we pushed him back right before the actual draft into the second round, a day 2 pick, because we kind of figured he's going to be more of a right tackle. And then the Chiefs took him at the end of the second round, and they stuck him right in at left tackle, put him in the fire, and it didn't work out all that great. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, there's layers to draft and scouting and things like that. At first, we thought he was going to be a project, high freak athlete, left guard option, or left tackle option, my bad. I misspoke. So, look, we had him there. We were like, look, we were one of the first ones, Steve, that put the Chiefs and Chiefs Kingdom on to Kingsley Suamataia. And I still like the kid. The dude's still good. Now, he did prove the more I watched during tape. I was like, I don't know if he can do left tackle, man. He's probably going to play right tackle. But the Chiefs took him at the end of the second, and they thought he could play left tackle. And they thought so much, they named him the starter, didn't bring in any veterans to push him or teach him anything. And then he gets his butt whooped versus one of the top tier, if not the top tier guy.
Right, yeah.
And they threw him to the curb. Okay, he was out of his league. Well, we could have told you he was out of his league. You guys should have known that. Your scouts should have known that. That was just a drop the ball situation from the Chiefs overall. There hasn't been a drop like that. Like, I'm not willing to put him in the Sky Moore category because he's not a bust yet.
No,
like
that's wild,
I believe Sky is. But the way that they seen Sky Moore integrating into the offense and being NFL ready as a wide receiver, they did the same thing with Kingsley. And it didn't work. So there's a disconnect there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like Jay Freezy's saying here, he's literally played a game and a half, and everybody's going crazy. Now, he did get in a little bit in a couple of other games late, and it was like, obviously it wasn't great either. But, I mean, consistently played a game and a half. That was it. And people are already ready to write him off. That's just wild to me.
Yeah,
now,
could
he be a left tackle? Absolutely. I think, at his ceiling. But will he hit his full ceiling? I don't know. I think it's safer to say he's going to be the right tackle.
Well, do you remember when we flipped him to right tackle and we thought he was more of a right tackle only? And that's why we pushed him down. The reason we pushed him to the end of the second round was because you had other guys like Roger Rosengarten from Washington. Yeah. Look how he panned out. That's a legit right tackle. So Kingsley, even going to the right side, became more of still projection. Kingsley was projection. He was the ultimate draft pick of like height, weight, freak athlete.
Yeah.
What can we make of him? And so with that and him being so young, we have to go through the process now of developing this guy.
Right. Well, you also have Wanye Morris still hanging out too, and I think maybe the plan was last year they thought they were going to go ahead and start Wanye Morris, but he was dealing with that knee injury at the beginning of the season. I think that's why Kingsley ultimately won that job right off the bat, was because of Wanye dealing with the knee injury. But Wanye's not a left tackle either. We've seen that over and over and over again.
Yeah, I don't think he's that either.
So we got a couple of guys on the team that potentially are right tackles, and I think both of them could be a guard.
Both could play guard.
And then, of course, all the draft the guys drafted last year with C.J. Hansen, Hunter Norzad. I mean, you got all kinds of guys like that. Caliendo's still on the team. I mean, there's a lot of depth there, but there's no one that screams left tackle, and I think that's why they're going to end up going with DJ Humphries. I'd almost bet it. Now, the day before free agency starts, it might come out and Brett Veach sign somebody. It would not blow my mind if that happened.
How's he going to have the money to do that though? With Trey Smith on the back burner at $20 million.
Don't they always make stuff happen though?
If he's anywhere around that $20 million.
Well, that's the thing. That's another thing I want to talk about. Everybody talks about the salary cap. Do you remember 2 years ago when we had $800 of salary cap? Brett Veach went crazy and signed 1 million people.
Yeah, because
there
salary
are ways
cap
to make things happen.
is adjustable. It really is.
It's kind of fictional, right? It's kind of like not a real thing.
In so many ways, it's pretty fictional. You can find ways to do it. Look, there's not that much you have to do right now that you couldn't switch some stuff around. You know, you could convert Travis Kelce, some of his contract, over to a signing bonus and free up a bunch. Mahomes does this every year. You've got a lot coming off him. You could restructure Chris Jones. You could do something with Tooney right now that could save you some money. You could take money from Jawan Taylor and convert that to a signing bonus.
I think something has to get done with Kelce. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, the Chiefs can free up. We could free up $25-30 million in the blink of an eye.
I love Travis Kelce. I'm glad he's coming back, and I'm glad he has the same mentality as me. You can't go out like that after the career that he's put up. But we can't pay him that much this coming year. That just seems crazy to me. For the production you're going to get out of him, I just don't think that's a smart thing to do. So they're going to have to restructure him too.
You know, for a guy in a Spags defense that has to cover a lot, got to be a freak athlete, got to get after the quarterback, and I'm talking about defense, be it a safety or a linebacker. Losing Willie Gay last year, I mean, I feel like our linebacker play actually did go down this year without Willie Gay. I felt like they were a little lower this year. I don't think Drew Tranquil had as good of a season as he had his first year here. No. Nick Bolton across the board didn't play as well this year, and a lot of that was due to injury. Leo played pretty well, but they just don't give Leo a lot of snaps. I mean, I think for the season he didn't even hit 50% snap count on defense. So it's just the way they do it. They'll play a lot of those, you know, a lot of extra safeties or whatever. But there's a linebacker out there on the free agency market, and he kind of fits what Brett Veach looks for in certain things and even in trade targets. Do you remember a couple years, there was a linebacker out of Clemson, and he was just a freak athlete, and he played safety, he played linebacker, he was super fast, super athletic, Isaiah Simmons. Do you remember him? Yeah. And he got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. He's 26 years old. And he is going to hit the free agency market right now. He played his last year in New York with the Giants. That could be a guy that if you lost Justin Reid and you need somebody to replace now a Willie Gay that can defend, so that you got a little linebacker, you got a little hybrid safety there. He can get after the passer. He's super fast. Isaiah Simmons could be a sneaky linebacker signing for me in free agency, especially if they think the guy that they want in the draft may not be able to get to them. And sometimes you can't just say, hey, we like that guy in the draft, let's not take anybody in free agency. You can't really do that because you never know who's going to just jump you and take your guy.
Right, yeah. It's very hard to depend on the draft. And I don't
think
like
the Isaiah Simmons idea, especially if you were to lose, say, a Justin Reid that flies around and makes those kind of plays?
I don't mind that idea, and I don't think Brett Veach would either, because that's what he normally typically tries to do, right, is get these guys that have underperformed and see if he can get the best out of them here. And most of the time that doesn't pan out. I mean, Kadarius Toney, Josh Gordon.
Right.
There's been several that they've tried that with, and it doesn't always work out. I think it was DeAndre Baker, the corner. It doesn't work out. there's usually a reason why they haven't panned out, right? But
True.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Not opposed to it. I like those type of guys that can do the safety and the linebacker type thing, just really athletic, because those are the kind of guys that can be around the ball all the time, and they're good in coverage and things like that. Like the kid from Louisville last year that got drafted, Abdullah,
I know who you're talking about.
maybe. Yeah, like
What is it?
was it Abdullah? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was kind of one of those tweener guys, and I really liked his tape. It's just like I like watching guys like that play, and I think that we could use someone like that. I get that vibe from Jaden Hicks. Like he's not really like a linebacker or anything like that, but he's that type of guy that's just so athletic and
Versatile.
all over the field. Yes, making tackles, always near the ball. So I'm just good with having good athletes on defense. So
I
we'll
wouldn't
see.
be
I
opposed.
would love to see Leo get some more snaps, though. I will say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing back Willie Gay either. I
No.
like what Willie Gay did.
You
I
think that's in the
he's
cards, though?
He's a nice spark plug to the defense. Is it in the cards? I don't know. I don't think
He's
there's
a
any
hype
bad
man.
blood between Willie and the Chiefs or nothing. So, I mean, he is a free agent. So,
He's a hype man. We need a hype man. I mean, I tried to say that on X the other day. You know,
I think Willie did a lot for our defense as to keep them, motivated to play, in my
for
opinion.
sure you need guys like that on the team. And that's not saying that he doesn't offer anything with his play, because he absolutely does. He can get sideline to sideline very quick. That was a good thing about Willie Gay, was just his athleticism. He never hit his ceiling either. I mean, but like you said, there's a lot of things about Willie Gay that I do like, and he could smash a vacuum like no other. So
Props to
you,
Willie.
you knew I was going to have to go there. No, we need
always
a hype
do.
man. We need a hype man. Mike, did you see on X the other day? I made a AI picture of WWE's Jey Uso wearing a Chiefs jersey that said "Yeet" on it as a
seen it.
joke, and I was just like, "This is the offseason signing the Chiefs don't even know they need." And it was obviously a joke. It's a wrestler, right? Like he's winning Royal Rumbles. He's not winning Super Bowls. Do you know that our fan base actually replied seriously and was like, "He's too small. I don't
Can't
think he'd
afford
be.
him."
I don't think he'd be a good football player." Like stuff like that's like, guys, come on, it's a joke.
down.
I was like, but he is, however, an excellent hype man, and that's what we need. We need a
That's all
Willie
he's
Gay.
got going for him. Steve, can we talk about the draft a little bit? I don't want to get into it too much, but there was some. I seen something today or yesterday that kind of just irked me a little bit. Somebody's already claiming they're going to come out and beat Xavier Worthy's 40 time.
Yes,
Okay, Isaiah Bond, wide receiver from where? Texas. Where's Texas finding these speedsters? These little missiles of speed and whatever they are.
dude, it's crazy. We were talking about that before we go on the live stream. It's like, where do they find these guys?
Right.
Texas.
So this is the clip of Isaiah Bond. Check it out.
Running tomorrow.
I'm going to break the record tomorrow, for sure. I anticipate running 4.20, or possibly I'm feeling great, I might run 4.1.
Hey,
4.20 or 4.1? He's confident enough he thinks he's going to run a 4.1?
Mike, I felt like he was pretty confident about it. I was like, dude, that's what the way he's saying it. And, Xavier Worthy was very confident last year.
True.
But if you play that clip back one more time, there's something very telling right after he says it.
Running tomorrow.
I'm going to break the record tomorrow, for sure. I anticipate running 4.20, or possibly I'm feeling great, I might run 4.1.
You see the little smirk in the side eye. He's full of it. He's not running no 4.1. He has never done that in his life.
He did run a 4.25 apparently in practice.
Yeah, he's not going to beat Xavier Worthy. I just don't see that happening the next year.
Right? That feels wild. But look, Isaiah Bond, he was supposed to be like the guy in Texas. He didn't even hang on to it. Something was a disconnect there, and he lost his go-to status to Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden ended up, and I've watched Matthew Golden tape. I've got through wide receivers. I'm completely officially done with wide receivers.
I'm almost
Steve.
there, Mike, so we can consult on that soon.
And Matthew Golden looks pretty NFL ready.
Yeah.
He looks good. Isaiah Bond does not.
Well, something that I noticed is that even Xavier Worthy had to drop a bunch of weight to hit that 4.21.
Right, and I've not heard of him doing this.
He doesn't look like he's dropped weight. He's pretty good.
We'll see, though. If Isaiah Bond breaks the
Pretty good
record,
size.
Steve, is he guaranteed first round? Because right now, I don't think he's a first-round pick. I think he's... Look, this is going to make some people...
But if he does, then absolutely, because
Yeah.
that's what happened, right?
This is going to make some people go nuts. And especially with this being a Chiefs crowd, right? Dude, the more I watch of Luther Burden, I feel like he's going to slide out of the first round.
But he's a beast, though.
Unless he's going to have to run insanely fast. There's
That's
got to be
fine.
something.
I
He's got
don't
to
care.
explain, Steve. He has got to explain why in 2023 he was a numbers machine. And then in 2024, he took a huge step back. And he didn't lose his quarterback. He didn't lose nothing. But he lost burst. He lost quickness. He lost decisiveness. Something was weird in 2024 when I watched tape compared to what I seen of him last year.
Well, his QB kind of sucks, though.
Cook, he's throwing at the combine. He's one of the better QBs in football. He's not a scrub.
He's not out there helping. I just don't
Dude,
think that's.
here's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know.
I think gauging by teams, Luther Burden is borderline late first round and maybe a round 2 pick right now. And that's surprising people. And look, I told you guys what was going to happen with the kid from what was it? Kansas State last year?
Yeah. Well,
The tight end?
Brent says it in the chat. I was going to say too. His QB was hurt a lot too, so you have to consider that.
He's got to figure out. I mean, he's got to answer it. If he can answer it and people buy it, he can definitely he can stay into the first round. People think I'm crazy to think he's not going to be a top 20 pick.
Yep.
He might be the 3rd or 4th best wide receiver in this draft.
I'm okay
But at
with
the same
it.
time,
Let him
this
fall.
This is not a deep wide receiver draft like we've seen in years past. I don't think he could be passed. Let's put it this way. He could be passed by Egbuka from Ohio State before it's all said and done.
Absolutely. I think that's definitely a possibility.
So then that puts him at 4.
Not
Okay.
only is that kid good, but they've also said that everyone's loved his interviewing. Like, apparently he's just...
He also has a chance to be
Yeah.
passed by Matthew Golden.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm fine with Luther Burden falling in the draft.
Me
Because
too. I
do you
don't see the
think-
Chiefs taking him, though.
No,
Do you see
I
the Chiefs
don't.
taking him at 31?
If he's there, don't you think they consider it? Just off pure value?
Honestly, look, it comes down to what you can do with Hollywood. If you can't get Hollywood back, to be honest, I think the way the Chiefs do wide receivers, and they don't go out and spend big money on wide receivers, right? I think it's smart to always invest good draft picks into them. Because even with Rashee Rice, that was a good hit. But look at him now. You've seen off the field circumstances you couldn't control. Now he might be suspended. He had an injury. So it depends on how he comes back too. And I get they hit on Xavier Worthy. That was a nice pick, but you may need to always invest an early round pick on a wide receiver if you're never going to go out and sign one at top tier money, right?
That's something to think about. I'm just saying if that, like, it's kind of like, I think that Brett Veach drafts, I think his idea of the positions he wants, but I also think he drafts a lot on value and on their big board. Like if someone's there, or if someone's fallen somewhere to where he thinks he could trade up and get them, he'll do it off pure value. I don't think they had any intentions of drafting a cornerback, but I think when they saw Trent McDuffie falling down the board, they were like, this is stupid. Let's go get him. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
really do think that's a thing. So
you said you're
Don't-
done with wide receivers almost, right?
yeah,
This is our
almost.
first group we're
Almost.
looking at as a team. We're looking at wide receivers. Do you have a number one? Do you have a top three?
I think number one's kind of up in the air for me right now. I haven't made my mind up. It's either Travis Hunter or Teddy McMillan.
Oh, Ted McMillan.
Yeah,
I think that's
but-
pretty uniform across the board.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue with it. It just is. Now, if I was going with like what the Chiefs could use or what the Chiefs would use, neither of them would probably be on there. But if you're just going overall big board, it has to be those two. And you could kind of flip a coin, to be honest.
Have you found anybody you like a sleeper that's not getting a lot of hype, or just somebody you think would fit the
You
Chiefs
talked
better
about
than
him the other
anybody
day.
else?
You talked about him the other day, and you
Who do
said
you
that
got?
you might be able to convert him to a tight end.
Oh yeah, Jack Besh.
Yeah, I
I
really
like him.
I like him too.
I think he could be used in a way like Noah Gray. and he's
Well, you mentioned that he reminded you of Kelsey and them and stuff like that, and I thought I saw a lot of Puka Nakua in him, and not even like college Puka. I'm talking like pro Puka. Like I see a lot.
it gets
of comparison
wild.
there.
Isn't it wild that now every draft season's coming down to who's Puka Nakua?
Well, it's
Like
not
because
that,
that was
but
such
I'm
a big hit.
I'm not saying that he's like a diamond in the rough like Puka Nakua. I'm just saying his play style
Yeah,
is Puka Nakua. That's what I'm trying to.
I,
It's like
I
a comp.
see it. It looks like a Nakua mixed with a Kelsey in a way. That's kind of like a beautiful thing there. There's a few guys I'm looking at, dude, and I think if the Chiefs go wide receiver in the first few rounds, there's a few different guys, but dude, I think I found the sleeper. I think I found my sleeper. I'm not gonna unveil it.
I have
It's
another
too
one
early
too.
for
I'm not
that.
going to talk about. Yeah,
It's too early for that.
Yep.
But I will say that if the Chiefs took one at the end of the first, I'm with you. I don't see them. I think top 10 for Ted McMillan is a little rich right now, in my opinion. Maybe even top 15. I think he's got to come out in the combines and run in the 4.4s. If he runs
Did
a
you
4.5
see,
or later, he probably drops out of the top 10. He probably goes 15 to 20-ish.
is it the Mississippi State?
Trey Harris.
Did you see him saying that he like his interview? He said his favorite thing to do is to take defensive back souls.
Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, go watch his film. His favorite thing to do needs to be get consistent first because
Right.
he's polarizing. He's polarizing. Like he does
I think so,
remind you of
too.
like the AJ Brown type Ole Miss receiver, DK Metcalf.
Do you
But at
see
the end
any?
of the day-
Do you see any Lad McConkeys in the draft that you think are just like plug and play?
Yeah, honestly, I seen a guy yesterday that kind of reminded me of Lad McConkey a little bit in the way that I
will
felt his
say
route
this.
technician was.
I have yet to see anybody with that type.
Really.
Like I said, I'm not done yet, but I've yet to see someone that plays with the maturity of Lad McConkey.
I mean, I don't think he's 100% Lad McConkey, but the play style, I've seen
Like
some things.
Lad's route running and like just like his football IQ in general was head and shoulders above everybody else last year, and I haven't seen anybody like him this year. But like I said, I'm not done. I still got some more to watch. I got some more tape to watch. I
Okay.
can't wait to get into it though. Like we'll have a video soon. We're gonna obviously free agency comes first, so we'll be doing free agency stuff right before that. But we will have a video coming out very, very soon about the wide receivers. So we'll start with them.
Yeah. Yeah. There. To answer your question though, there is a guy that reminds me of Lad McConkey a little bit. He don't have everything about Lad McConkey, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that a guy like Xavier Restrepo from Miami isn't in that category a little bit. Now I don't think he's as fast and quick and as ready.
Right.
But you want to talk about a guy that don't drop nothing? Looks like he's got magnets in his glove. That kid right there can play a little bit, but he doesn't fit what the Chiefs do. Do you think about it? Like the Chiefs just do not play slot receivers as a slot only and throw them the ball. And there was a few guys that were reminding me a lot of the kid from Clemson a few years back that everybody wanted us to get in the offseason, Hunter Renfrow. There was a few guys that kind of give me a Hunter Renfrow vibe.
Yeah. Brent says in the chat that he thinks Travis Hunter matches Lad's IQ. And you might be right about that, but
does.
his ability is obviously even more than Lad McConkey, but I don't think he's a polished route runner like Lad McConkey.
There's a reason why.
He don't have the pacing, he don't have the timing, he don't have a lot of what Lad had.
There's a reason why. Because he plays
not
both
focused on
sides
it.
of
Yeah.
the ball.
Yeah.
And he's never dedicated just a craft to be an offensive wide receiver or a defensive corner.
Yeah, the guy's ceiling's insane.
He's got to pick one. And I know he's probably going to want to play both sides. But in my opinion, if you picked one, you're going to be one of the top in the NFL at that position. If he stays with both, it's very possible he may not live up to expectations.
Yeah. I don't know
But
what's
I
gonna
love
happen
Travis
with him.
Hunter. I
don't
think
know
Travis
what's
Hunter's
gonna-
probably the best football player in this draft.
I don't know what's going to happen with him. But
Yeah, it's wild, dude.
His ceiling's very, very high. Warpaint says we absolutely need a Welker Edelman. Why can I say that? Can you say Welker
A Welker
Edelman?
Edelman.
Say that 3 times fast.
Welker Edelman. I can't. That's just wild.
Warpaint started something. Welker
What have you done to
Welker
us?
Edelman type guy. No, seriously, we had guys that could do that type of role. But why isn't Andy using those quick slants and stuff with Patrick, especially when we had issues with left tackle and pressure? Like, why was that not a thing that was installed in this offense?
I don't know. Like, the only thing Andy kind of done,
Even as much shit as everybody talks about Sky Moore, he could probably play a role like that. He might now if
that's what we were begging for.
But after he drops a couple,
Yeah.
then you're like, hey, go back to your sideline. But I mean, he's that type of guy. Like, we just didn't even give Patrick Mahomes much of an out this year.
We don't use that very much.
Yeah.
And I think that eliminates a lot of the wide receivers in this draft because you're not going to take a guy like who's a slot-only guy? Isaiah Bond? That's a good one. He's probably a slot-only guy, and you're not going to draft him.
Well, Luther Burden would be a good slot too, and that's the thing. Like I think someone said in the chat earlier, just like we don't need any more slot receivers. We have too many.
Right.
But let's be honest. Brett Veach and Andy Reid collect slot receivers like Pokemon.
Yeah, they do.
They got to catch them all, and don't be surprised if they don't try to get another one, because that's literally like at this point. As a fan on the outside looking in, go right ahead because that's the only ones you use. You know what I'm saying? Like even Rashee Rice, he wasn't that, but that's kind of what he's turned into if you really think about it. If we had anybody that run the routes that like Welker or one of those guys would run, it is Rashee Rice. That's kind of how they were using him early in the year before. Man, and I wanted to bring this up real quick too, and then we'll move on, but Pat, we talked about Pat having his worst year and like how he just looked so bad in the Super Bowl and this and that. Everyone should have saw that coming when in like week 4, this dude goes completely McClones and throws an interception and then absolutely runs over and puts his wide receiver one out for the year with a knee injury. That was the most clumsiest, dumbest play of all time. And we saw it early in the season. And somehow we thought that we weren't going to see him again that year. Like, we should have saw that one coming from a mile away. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
That's still to me, like, even after the Super Bowl just getting beat to death by the Eagles and even the Super Bowl getting beat to death by the Bucks, I still think the low point of Patrick Mahomes' career was that silly-ass throw and then injuring his wide receiver one for the year. In the same play. It has to be a low.
Yeah, I feel like he was trying to injure himself.
I don't know what was going on there. He was drunk that day, wasn't he?
He was wild. Dude,
Won too many Coors Lights before that
To
game.
everybody's point, though, I wish the Chiefs would invest in a nice, bigger-bodied receiver, like an X style, that was fast and that we would use. Like somebody that is quick enough to play in the Andy Reid offense.
If you're committed to that, though, why not just go out and try to get DK? Because he fits that script 100%.
Well, it's possible. But I want to see an MVS that's better than MVS, right? Like MVS had plenty of opportunities to make big plays, and he made a lot of big plays. I'm not going to dog him that hard. He made a few good plays. But he had the opportunity to make tons and tons of good plays. Yeah. Justin Watson has been able to that taller 6'3", 200-ish frame. But he doesn't make the plays you need him to make.
Why do we have to still talk about Justin Watson?
That's what I'm saying. We need a guy like those two that can come in with high upside that we will use. Like, I don't think they're going to use Justin Ross that way ever.
No.
But could you go get a guy like a Jaden Higgins from Iowa State that's 6'3", 217 and just flat out runs like Jalen Hyatt from last year?
That's the only way that's going to work.
And he can play every position. That would be a fun pickup for the Chiefs.
You can't get an X receiver that's not going to create separation but win contested catches because Mahomes isn't going to throw it to him.
Right, the Keon Coleman's of the world.
The only way that you're going to make that work is by getting a DK Metcalf, a big guy, big X receiver that also can run a 4.3 40 and just absolutely create separation. That's the only way.
There's several guys like that. And like I said, Jaden Higgins is one of them at the top of my list that if he could come in and run really high numbers, that could be a sneaky pick.
Warpaint with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go, Warpaint. Appreciate you. Glad to have you back, by the way. I saw you said it'd been a minute. We did miss you. So appreciate you coming back in style with the 5 gifted. And once again, we will be doing our members only live stream this evening. Don't have an exact time for you, but it's going to be this evening. Keep an eye out if you want to participate. And you guys that just got memberships from Warpaint and from Peter earlier in this live stream, make sure to thank them in the chat and come join us later today. We'd love to see you there. It'll be a fun time. Mike, a lot of draft stuff coming up, and like I mentioned earlier, free agency's first. So I think next on the agenda for All Chiefed Up is we're going to get our list of top free agent targets for the Chiefs. And we'll probably have a video out about that. And then the next thing you're going to start seeing is going to be draft. So if you love the draft content and you're a little horny for the draft, then you're going to be excited about that. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Hang out with All Chiefed Up this year. Let's do this thing. We had a good run at it the last few years. Mike, since we started the channel, this is the first year that the Chiefs aren't going into the season as the reigning Super Bowl champions.
Right. It's wild.
I thought we were the good luck charm.
Now we're playing with a chip on our shoulder, huh?
I thought we were the good luck charm. I thought they were never going to lose the Super Bowl with us as a YouTube channel, but I guess we weren't. I guess we weren't that, you know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We'll see.
It was close. They got close. They were in the Super Bowl again. So we'll continue to take a little bit of credit for that. Why not? But no, seriously, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Help us grow the channel. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, X, share that out with your followers, family, friends, whoever the hell looks at your stuff. We would appreciate that. Mike, anything more you want to talk about today? While we still have a little bit of time. Also, if you guys have some questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat too. We'll try to get to you.
Not really, man. I'm just excited to see how the combine plays out this week. I'm excited to look into free agents. Look, and look, us coming up with a free agency list, I don't even know how we're going to do that because honestly, I don't think the Chiefs are looking that deep into free agency. I don't. Do you? Do you think there's anybody out there that they're going to sign beyond possibly Trey Smith and possibly Hollywood Brown? I have nobody that I can think of off the top of my head that they would just like love.
Well, to be honest here,
it's in-house mostly.
It's not like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the free agency this year is not like
it's down.
Crazy as usual. I mean, if you're looking, let's just go from the top. The ranked free agents right now, number 1, T. Higgins. We're not going to pay a receiver $40 million a year. It's not happening.
No, I couldn't see that.
And I'm not saying he's going to get that, but it's going to be up there.
Right. And Trey Smith's number 2, right?
Trey Smith's number 2.
And I think that's who they're going to look to sign. That's their big free agency splash.
So one guy that this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think a guy that they could take a look at. He's 26 years old, Mike, and he's the number 3. And you don't want to pay a big boatload of money to another defensive tackle. But, man, wouldn't it be nice to have Milton Williams in the middle there? He was killing us in the Super Bowl.
You can't afford it.
No.
You just can't afford it.
But you can dream.
You just can't afford it.
The Eagles couldn't afford it either, but they made it happen. You see, maybe.
The Eagles always can
but even after
find
that,
something.
You got Ronnie Stanley, you got Zach Bond, Sam Darnold. It's just not like a huge thing. A lot of Eagles players are free agents. Milton Williams, Zach Bond, Josh Sweat.
And they'll figure out a way to sign half of them back or sign new ones.
And Myles Garrett. They'll go get him too because that's just how this goes. You know, they have Nick Bolton as a number 18 free agent. I feel like
he was lower than that a little while ago.
I feel like selling him a little short, but maybe not. Maybe not. There's also a safety out there, Mike, and I know he was a Raider, but since we're Pops loved him out of the drafts. Trayvon Moehrig. He's out there and available. I don't know how much he would garner. Trey Moehrig.
Oh,
Pops
he liked
loved
him?
that guy coming out the draft. Yeah,
Pops loved that guy.
He's an interesting one. Malcolm Kuntz, edge rusher, is an interesting one. There's some guys out there. So I don't know. I don't know what Brett Veach is gonna do.
Yeah, to me, the only thing out there is just a bunch of depth pieces.
What you're going to hear from the media is going to be the Chiefs are going to sign Stephon Diggs or like whatever big name they can attach to the Chiefs is kind of what the media likes to do. But I'm with you, Mike. I don't see a whole lot coming. I don't. But we could be wrong. We've been wrong before, so it is what it is. A couple questions real quick we'll get. Doug says, we're also missing the blocking tight ends like Blake Bell and blocking running backs like Jake McKinnon for Pat. Question mark. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think Mike's talked about that before, getting that kind of Jarrett McKinnon rolly guy. We've talked about that a million times, and we've not really had anybody come in and take that role and really protect Pat the way that he did. And then do you think that not having a blocking tight end like Blake Bell was also apparent this year, Mike? Do you think that was a problem?
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Isn't that kind of what Peyton Hendershot was brought in for? And he did do pretty well late in the season.
Yeah, he done okay. This is why we were looking at certain guys in last year's free agency. You remember the kid out of was it Drew Sample out of Cincy? And then Cincy ended up signing him back. Why? Because that goes a long way into helping protect Joe Burrow when your offensive line's kind of trash. Right. So when your offensive line's kind of trash, like ours will get every once in a while, it's good to have those kinds of guys. And, I mean, there's something to it. There's something to it for sure.
Right. Ray says, who trades with the Chiefs this year? So whether it's free agency or even in the draft, Mike, if there's one team out there you think that would will and deal with the Chiefs, who you looking at? Got to be an NFC team, right? Thinking like the Carolina Panthers or someone like that?
I'd say somebody like them, the Saints, the Bucks, maybe not even the Bucks. Yeah, somebody like that. It's going to be like an NFC South team or something.
Yep. Curtis J says, do you think the bullshit with the refs will carry over into next season and affect us like it did in the Super Bowl?
More than likely.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about it. And I think that the guys really did let that affect them somewhat. But they've got, like that's the thing. You're the villain now. And you accepted that. We thought you accepted that. So at that point, that should have just rolled off your shoulders. But I think it did have an effect, honestly. And I think that you'll continue to see it, Curtis. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Like, that's the first thing they're going to start in next year is, the Chiefs get all the calls. They haven't stopped even though they lost the Super Bowl. Like, literally, now the only reason the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl was because the refs weren't cheating for them like they were the rest of the year.
No, this next season's going to be, as soon as we win a game or there's a call that seems to go our way, they're going to say, oh, wow, look, they had one game where the Chiefs didn't get the calls, and now they're going to make up for it all year.
Ding, ding, ding,
like,
ding,
you know
ding.
it's coming.
Pops with the correct answer here. Buffalo will trade with us. They gave us Mahomes. They gave us Xavier Worthy. Who are they going to give us this year? Heck, we even stole Trent McDuffie from them. They were after him. So I think Pops is right about that one. Buffalo's probably the player. They
Isn't
love
it wild that as much
glutton
as,
for punishment.
As much as Buffalo's contributed to our overall, success, it's pretty still amazing that they could be right there fighting it out with us every single season. You know what I mean?
Just think, man, if they would have just not done that, they would have been beating us every season. Handily.
It's pretty wild that they've done that much to help us, but also been able to keep their team afloat too. So props to Bean over there. Like, this dude ought to be like GM of the century, bro. He's built two teams.
What's his name? Billy
Jeffrey Bean?
It's not Jeffrey Bean. Isn't that like a stylist or something?
I don't remember.
A clothing line?
Billy Bean? Bobby Bean? Beanie Weenie? I don't know. What's his
Baked
name?
Bean.
Bush's Baked Beans.
Is he like a bowl of beans or is he a singular bean? I don't even know this guy's name at all.
He's got to be a one bean, right?
Brandon Bean.
Brandon. That's right. I knew there was a two. That's why I was saying Billy. I knew it was a double B.
It's kind of like all the females in Adam Sandler movies. They always have to have the first and last name with the same letter, like Veronica Vaughn.
Yeah. It's a little alliteration trick there.
Yeah. Let's see what. Oh, it's Jeffrey Bean is a cologne for men. See, Jeffrey Bean also makes apparel too. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They always have Jeffrey Bean at like Ross for like $5.
It's like an expensive brand, I think, and no one buys it because it's not popular, and then it ends up in TJ Maxx.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's normally what happens. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you all being here today. Shout out to everybody that donated and gifted memberships and all that stuff. You guys are amazing. Shout out BetUS for powering this live stream, the last one of this season. Big shout out to BetUS. Thanks for hooking your boys up all season long. Y'all check them out in the description. There's a lot of sports still going on. Football's not going, but there's other things that you can go bet on. So go to betus.com. Mike, anything? Members only live stream coming up later today. Be on the lookout for that. I think I hit it all. Hit the like button on the way
you
out.
did, man.
I just got so much to say and so little time to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think that's it. We got so much work to do. Let's get it going.
Hey, happy Friday. You guys have a good weekend. We'll see you.
Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.